Hello, you are welcome to New Focused Approach to Mathematics Basic 9. This is the revised edition, and in this video, we are going to solve word problems involving addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So all we are going to do here is to take questions that involve we adding, we subtracting, we multiplying, we dividing. So we are trying to do the application of all we've learned in line with addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So we'll take few examples and there we go. Here we have a fruit seller bought 350 apples for sale at the market. A number of apples got rotten, leaving 90% as good for sale. That's unfortunate for the fruit seller. So 90% of the total apples were good. She sold each of the remaining apples for 5 cedis. How much money did the fruit seller get from the sales, and how many of the fruits were rotten? Good. So what we need to do is to know total number of apples purchased is 350. How many of them were good? It said 90%. So 90% of the 350 were good, and I'm sure you know how to do the calculations in terms of percentage. We did this in year 1 and year 2. So a simple calculation here, this 0 will cancel this and this will cancel that. We have 9 times 35, and that will give us 315. That means 315 of these apples were good. Now she sold each of these remaining apples one for 5 cedis. So the total number of apples 315 times each of the apple price being 5 cedis. Now let's do simple calculation here. 315 times 5. Again, we can do our simple tricks. We can subtract from 315 and we'll be left with 314. Now 314 divided by 2. That is 150 plus 7. So 157, right? 157. Then we attach 5. We attach the 5 because it's odd number. Okay, so our answer is 1,575. So the question that was asked, the first one says, how much money did the fruit seller get from the sales? And we can say the fruit seller made an amount of 1,575 Ghana cedis. How many of these apples were rotten? Okay, total apple given was 350. We saw that the good ones were 315. So if you want to get the ones that got rotten, we just do simple subtraction here, and that becomes our answer. And so 350 minus 315 will just give us 35. So 35 apples got rotten. That is the question. So you can see here that we've done application of multiplication, we've done subtraction as well, and we've done percentages. Let's take another example and see. A school presented 200 candidates for BEC in the year 2020. That's WAEC examination or WAEC BEC. The number of boys were 50, more than the girls. 28 of the boys passed with distinction, while 24% of the girls also passed with distinction. Find the number of candidates who were boys. Then what percentage of the candidates passed with distinction? Right. So currently we have 200 candidates. The number of boys were 50 more than girls. So if girls were X, let's say if the girls were X, then the boys would be X plus 50. That's what it means. Okay. If the number of girls were X, then the boys would be X plus 50, because they said the number of boys were 50 more than the girls. And we know that the total of them together will be 200. So we can say, okay, the girls, let's call them X number, plus the boys X plus 50. Now when we put them together, we get 200. So what is the x here? 2x plus 50 is equals to 200. And so we can have 2x is equals to, when you subtract 200 from 50, we get 150. So divide both sides by 2 will give us 75. So the total number of girls were 75. In that case, total number of boys will be 75 plus 50, and that will give us 125. Okay. All right. So that is that. So now that we know that our boys are 120, or they were 125, it answers the first part of the question, which says that find the number of candidates who were boys, and the number is 125. Okay. Now, to answer the second part of the question says what percentage of the candidate passed with distinction. Now, we saw from the question that 28 of the boys passed with distinction. So 28%, that is 28 over 100 times 125 on the part of the boys. And so we want to do calculation over here. When you do your simple cancellation and multiply, you end up getting 35 boys pass with distinction. Again, if you look at the part of the girls, they said 24% of the girls also pass with distinction. And so 24 over 100 times 75. That one too, if you do your simple calculation, you get 18 girls also pass with distinction. Now, if you add 18 plus the 35, together will give us 53 students pass with distinction, because they want the total number of candidates who pass with distinction, and there are 53 in all. This is how you can handle this question as well. I'm sure here too we've seen application of multiplication, we've seen percentages, we've seen addition also working over here. And I'm sure this has been of great help to you. Thanks so much for watching.